With regards to our Bolivian transaction, which was announced at COP, this is a landmark kind of transaction. A lot of people were, number one, rightly surprised about the size of it, and also how the deal is actually structured. So if we step back for a second, why did we engage and they engage with Laconic on this transaction? We were, number one, the first firm and still the only firm that's ever approached them or any of our other clients on a nationwide level. They've been subjected, and I use that word, subjected, to endless incoming phone calls from poorly funded developers trying to originate voluntary carbon projects in their country. And the feedback we got, not only in Bolivia, but in 2 other countries, face-to-face, is we don't want to have to deal with 20, 30 voluntary carbon developers who, number one, keep the bulk of the revenue, number 2, are hard to police, and number 3, are poorly capitalized. So whether the project actually ever gets off the ground is a question mark. Then how do we monitor it? We know from our technology stack, from our platform called SADAR, we've identified verified carbon projects that are operating with no permit or in illegal locations within a country. So for the Bolivians, for us to be able to come in and do a full country, measure of deforestation, above ground carbon, to be able to do this on request, essentially. We update our own databases every 72 hours. To be able to do this in a timely fashion ensures governments that they're able to track deforestation that is illegal because they can see it, they can get the data on it, they know where it's happening, and they could do something and take action to stop it. That was a huge plus. We were able to show Bolivia what had happened over the last 5 to 10 years in the area of deforestation that they had never seen displayed on a screen before. And they were surprised, to say the least. And other countries have had the same reaction to finally being able to see high quality geospatial fused data presented in a manner that is easy for them to understand in the ecology department, ministry finance department. In Bolivia or any other sovereign transaction that we are working on, one of the most important things that they don't get is they don't get saddled with debt that incurs interest payments or a maturity payment down the road 5, 10, 15 years. That is a huge burden lifted off most of these nations, where by removing the need for incurring debt to take actions to improve the ecology of the country, we're lifting a huge GDP burden off of these countries. We're talking about some nations that are carrying debt at 14, 15% interest rates, 14 to 16% interest rates. That's a huge drag on GDP. And we're talking about economies that are traditionally agricultural. This may never be repaid, or at least will take generations to be repaid. We're showing them a path to fundraising that doesn't involve repayment, doesn't hit their current account, doesn't involve the issuance of any government debt. There is no shortage of organizations, multinational, that are willing to extend debt, give grants to multiple countries around the world. Monetizing the natural capital through the issuance of carbon securities for the first time allows non-balance sheet access to funds, which does not make the sovereign reliant on a multinational, so we're talking about a World Bank, an IFC, IADB, ADB, the list goes on. It frees them from these decades-old funding constraints that they have had. And that is when I sit with sovereigns and talk to them at the finance level, this is a huge thing for them to be able to move from this debt world that they live in today into an extractive activity that doesn't damage nature, but frees them from these long-term debt obligations.